Hello there. Team news, please, sir.
Team news is that we're as we were. Christian Pulisic is back in to contention and fitness. Kai Havertz played some minutes the other day. It's probably more just checking on his potential for match fitness, but we're in pretty good shape.
It's good to hear. People seem to be reporting as facts that you're in talks at the club with Thiago to keep him for an extra year.
Yeah, I've seen the reports, and there's an option in Thiago's contract that we can look at as the season goes on. And obviously, the way he's playing at the minute, we're very happy. So that's the end of it, really. I'm surprised it's come out in that way.
So it's not wrong, but you're not saying any more. I'll put it like that.
There's an option in his contract, yeah. So.
Yeah. Obviously, always a big game, a London derby. Frank, Jose, but two teams in such good form, in the best form currently in the Premier League. Is it extra special?
I think Chelsea-Tottenham is extra special anyway because of the rivalry between the two teams. I played in the fixture many a time, and the fact that we're in good form and towards the top end of the table adds spice. You know, it's obviously positions that we want to be in. We're all fighting for those kind of positions, so I think it's a game that remains special for those reasons. But in the league positions, of course, all eyes will be drawn to it.
Bookies have you and Spurs third and fourth favourites to win the title. Jose says constantly he's just looking at the next game. That's obviously his way of dealing with the fact that they're top of the table. You're not far behind them. Are you both, do you think, Spurs and Chelsea title contenders a quarter of the way through the season? No,
I understand Jose's answer, and that's a position we should be in because the marker has been set by Liverpool and Manchester City in the last 2 or 3 seasons. We're early on in the season, really, in terms of games, so we shouldn't get carried away with our teams. It's good that we're competing high up, but there's such a long way to go that I understand his position. I feel the same about us.
Just finally from me, Frank, if I can just change tack slightly, just your thoughts on the loss this week of Diego.
Yeah, Diego Maradona was my idol growing up. He was a person that, I was always born into a football family, but he was the player on the world stage that made me fall in love with the game. I remember vividly moments of World Cups in my early years. I wasn't even that put out by the hand of God. I was as an England fan, but his individual brilliance overcame that as I grew up. Was fortunate enough to meet him very briefly. He's a footballing god, and it's very sad that he's not with us.
John Southall, 5 line.
Hi Frank.
Hi.
How much do you enjoy the challenge of going up against Jose? Obviously, you've got a very good record against him as a manager. You've had that little spat on the touchline. How important for you is it to, stand your ground against the likes of Jose, Jurgen Klopp, Pep as a young manager?
Yeah, I don't. It's not important to stand my ground. It's important to approach the games against all the top coaches. We're fortunate in the Premier League to have great coaches. Try and prepare my team as well as I can to try and win the games, and that's just my job. So, of course, these are the moments you want to be in this job for when you're competing against the best.
Just a quick one on the coronavirus. Obviously, over Christmas, there's going to be a bit of a relaxation where families can meet in with 3 different other families. How does that work with your players? Will you be allowing them to do that, or is that too much of a risk over Christmas?
I actually haven't gotten that far down the line. I'm sorry to not give you an answer on that, but towards that period or before that period, we'll look closely at what we feel is the best way. I want the players to be spending Christmas with their loved ones, and I think that's an important thing. If it can be done safely, then I'll have absolutely no problem with that, so I'll deal with that nearer the time.
Yeah, and one thing that will happen before then is that fans will be back in stadiums, so how excited are you about that, even if it's only going to be, 2,000?
Yeah, I'm delighted for that. The low-level numbers, I think if that's safe and it's come from the government, that's their call, then it's just a great first small step towards where we want to get to, and hopefully if things are done well and we see that the safety is very comfortable for everybody, we'll move quickly up and hopefully get more fans, because everybody obviously is desperate. We're desperate from our end, and fans are desperate to get back in the right way.
And just quickly on Pulisic, he's ready, he's fit and ready to start, is he?
Yeah, he's fit, and ready to start is a question mark. It's hard to gauge match fitness in the training time timed as they are with COVID, it's very hard to recreate match play and training, because the rest of the players are preparing for games every 3 days, and we didn't have any academy games that we can mix bubbles. So every player, not just Christian, that comes back from fitness, it's actually sometimes more difficult at the moment to get them ready to start games. So we'll see.
Anita Jones, PLP.
Afternoon, Frank.
Hi.
You beat Tottenham in both league games last season, but they look a different proposition this time round. Do you feel like you're playing a different Spurs side to that of last season?
Yeah, I certainly don't put anything on the fact that we beat them twice last season. It's every new year will bring something else. I think Tottenham invested heavily in the break and brought in some very good players, experienced players, top level players that will strengthen their squad, no doubt. And they already had a really strong squad already before that. So I'm expecting a tough match, whatever. Their start's shown that. They've shown the squad that they have, and the fact that they also have a depth in their squad, which was shown last night, and the fact that they can make so many changes in the Europa League.
I know you already touched on you and Tottenham being title contenders, but how important is it to beat them in order to fulfil your ambition this season?
Well, I think in the short term, it's the game that's in front of us, and when you're playing rivals in terms of people that are fighting near you, then it's obviously important to try and win those games, and it can be very good for confidence. They're playing very well. They obviously beat Manchester City last week, and you can imagine the bouncing confidence that gave them. So we're in a similar position. In the bigger picture, there's a long way to go, so I don't think it's going to be absolutely telling for either of us. But at this moment, of course, we're prepared to try and win the game, to gain points against a close rival.
Martin Tyler.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Martin.
Just a quick about the way the game might pan out. It's wonderful watching the way you play. Congratulations the way you've woven all your attacking options to get the best out of them so quickly. And you're a very attack-minded side, an attack-minded manager. But Jose loves that. They're very well set up on the counter-attack, Spurs. Will you have to think long and hard about how and when to go at Tottenham, or can you just go and play it as another game the way the Chelsea have been playing?
I think when you have to respect Tottenham and the way they're playing and the quality they have and their style and how they like to approach games, and I'm sort of very aware of it. And the game last week had lots of pointers to that. But I also think they're a team and a squad that are so talented that they can play in various ways. I don't want to expect anything against their team, because they have ways where I think they can put pressure up you higher up the pitch. They tend to be more counter-attacking at the moment, but I'm not going into it expecting that. With us, I think one of the best things I've seen in us recently is the balance in our team. So I'd like to think that we're not an overly attacking team that will leave ourselves vulnerable, but we have to be aware, particularly of a player the level of Harry Kane and the relationship that him and Son have at the minute. I don't think you can look past that. My job is to understand that and try and make sure the players have all the information for them to go and deal with the game.
Nick Pure.
Hi Frank, thanks for your time as always. Just on Jose, does what he's doing now with Spurs kind of prove the old adage that form is temporary and class is permanent? And is he just as difficult a guy to manage against and just as talented manager as he ever has been?
Yeah, of course he is. You don't have a record as decorated as Jose Mourinho has as a manager without being a very talented coach. And for all of us, the game is so reactionary at the moment, particularly in the modern era with social media reactions, that form will always be judged very harshly for any manager that they are, and Tottenham are in good form. So they're on a good run, they have good players, they have a good manager. They just will be a very difficult game for us.
Alison Bender.
Hi Frank, how are you doing?
Hi Alison.
I just wonder, when the manager doesn't necessarily know their best 11, it's often seen as a negative. But I think for Chelsea, you've got so many great players and so many fantastic combinations. Does it feel like more of a positive to you? And in light of that, how difficult has it been for you as a manager to select your best 11 for this game?
Well, it's difficult, and I imagine it's difficult for Tottenham as well. We have similar teams towards the top of the Premier League when you're fighting on so many levels, and we are in the Champions League and the league and the cups that come around. you want to have competition in places to protect yourself over the course of a season, but more than anything to generate competition, healthy competition within the squad, to have players pushing each other. That doesn't always mean on a settled 11. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So at the moment I'm happy with the level of competition, and if it's a problem for me to pick the team, then let's make that a positive, to try and make our squad one of our strengths. But as I say, we come up against a team in Tottenham that have comparable strength in the fact that, you know, you see last night Gareth Bale and Dele Alli come into the team, and whether they start at the weekend or not, but those are big players that are ready to come in. We have our own, hopefully, versions of that in positions, and it's about how I try and deal with that from our end.
James Ollie.
Hi Frank, you've spoken very respectfully about Jose there, but there was the touchline thing that was previously mentioned, and also when you won the league game there at Spurs last December, you described Chelsea as using Antonio Conte's system and not yours. Jose obviously does this sort of thing with a lot of managers. I mean, are you surprised though that you're one of them, given your long-standing relationship with him?
No, I'm not surprised in anything in management, because I think we all have similar jobs to do, and we all have to, you know, sit in these press conferences, and we all have our personalities, and I've got respect for Jose as a manager, and I think that's just how it is. I didn't take any offence to the talk of an Antonio Conte's system or whatever. You know, I played that system clearly a lot differently last year when we did play it to how Conte would have done, but Jose can have his opinions, and it's not a problem. I've got respect for him, and it's not nothing contentious for me.
Harry Brown.
Frank, you talked about how Jose Mourinho took your game to another level. There were queries about whether Harry Kane would be able to score enough goals underneath him. He's actually developed into a playmaker now. How do you assess his development under Jose Mourinho? Is he now a player that's less predictable?
Yeah, firstly, the queries of Harry Kane are incredible and a nonsense. No matter who was managing him, the player that Harry Kane is one of the best players in world football. Has always had, I think, the talents to play as an out-and-out nine or somebody who can drop off. And now he's developing in his own way as he matures as a player. He's a really impressive player. You know, there's no doubt about that. I've got a huge amount of respect for Harry Kane, and around him now he's got a very solid team, squad, good players around him, players that want to run behind if he does want to come short. So I think he's a very good and a very intelligent player, and it's as simple as that. He's got a very good coach, and that's why they're in a strong position, because as a coach we do rely on our, you know, top players to perform, and at the minute Harry Kane is an example of a player really in a sweet spot and playing top football.
Okay, last two, Nazar and then Jerry Cox.
Hi Frank, this question just nicely follows on from that really. You and Didier have that goal assist record in the Premier League, I'm sure you're aware of. Son and Harry Kane are going for that record now, they're getting kind of close. How much of a threat are they, and how much is that partnership something that you want to see develop between, you know, your players in Chelsea?
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly a threat to the record. They're going to beat that comfortably the way they're going, and fair play. I've got no qualms about that record. It's something me and Didier would be proud of to a degree, but this is football and it moves on, and players of their level will always test that. Yeah, I'm aware of their threats. You look at the numbers that they're producing, both of them, the link-up play, that understanding is clear. And fair play to them, and as I say again, the coach and the way they work as a team. So it's something we have to be aware of. We can't look beyond that. It's a big strength of theirs. It's not their only strength. They're a strong team around that in lots of different areas. But we also have to try and nullify those threats from their point of view and make the most of our positives within our squad. And yeah, I do want. I've spoken a lot about relationships. Early in the season, and players getting relationships, because we brought some players in and a transitional kind of feel of that. With players like Son and Kane, they've worked on that for a good few years now, and I suppose we're in the early stages of that. So yes, I would love to get our players to get in those sort of relationships, so they know what each other are doing and have that level of talent.
Last question, Jerry Cox.
Hi Frank, you okay?
Very good, thank you.
I understand Sunday is Roman Abramovich's 1000th game since he took over at Chelsea. Just quickly, will there be a special message to you and the lads for him or from him? And can you just sum up what he means, what he's meant for Chelsea, what he's done for the football club?
Well, the message from us, I don't know, there isn't one of them. I can give a message, but the message from us and the players really has to be to try and win the football match. I'm sure that will be the best message back to Roman in terms of this one-off game for a very special landmark. I suppose as manager and as a player who was involved in a lot of those games, I can give him a huge thank you, because nothing that we have achieved in the Roman Abramovich era could have happened without him and his support. Whether you're talking about, firstly, of course, a financial input, but also the development of the training ground, the love and time put into the academy, and the trophies that we've been able to win have obviously all been made possible because of him as well. So, yeah, we're very thankful. I certainly am. Our end of the bargain now is to try and work to remain successful on the pitch.